or which stream of SAP Ariba if possible, please? Starting with Shweta, if you can start. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, Kumar.
Yeah, maybe Iqbal, if you can.
Yeah, hi guys. This is Vijay Dipal. I'm acting as an MM consultant, and I have an overall experience of 6 years, and looking forward in this integration part.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that. But do you have prior any SAP Ariba experience working on any functional or technical?
Yes.
Okay, it's on functional or what
Yeah,
exactly is that?
functional only.
Okay, I mean, if you can explain the module also. I mean, I'm just asking these details because I'll have some understanding about the persons who join, how much exposure they have, right? So that's why I'm asking. So everyone, I mean, please give on which stream of Ariba you have experience, either functional, technically functional, which solutions of Ariba you has hands-on or any of the experience, please.
Yes, mostly I have been worked with SAP sourcing and contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there is a small chunk of experience in commerce automation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. Others, if you can share. Hi, Rajiv.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Yes, I'm MM functional certified MM EWM, and with Ariba I have experience with contract, right? Contract. So
Mm-hmm.
we used
Okay.
to send like a ITK file, right, from the S4
Mm-hmm.
HANA Ariba system via middleware, right? We were using some kind of a middleware as well, but I'm more on the functional side. So we were creating the contract on Ariba and then importing only the header part line item we were uploading onto the S4 HANA by ourselves through an Excel.
Okay, okay. Good to know that. Thanks,
But
Rajiv.
for the stock items, right? But I have a pretty good idea for the sourcing side and what is Ariba buying and invoicing, right? PR to PO. I have a pretty much good idea, but this integration side, CIG, I did not work, right? That's why I just wanted to learn how that works.
Sure, sure, for sure. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Thanks for the details.
No problem.
Raju or Shweta, if you can quickly give that, we can quick start the demo session for today's.
Hi, I'm a logistics consultant, functional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm new to Ariba. So,
Okay, okay. Thanks for that. Shweta, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, Kumar. Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Shweta. I'm having 3 years of experience as an SAP end user, and currently I'm working for data migration project in Infosys. And I'm new to Ariba. I'm present learning Ariba, and I want to know how the CAG works and what the main what is the importance of the CIG in Ariba, because I'm looking for the job in Ariba. So I was interested in this. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the details. So we're gonna quick start. I see, I mean, there is no more joiners. If they'll join, they're gonna, I mean, join us in this demo session as well. Thanks for that. So my little introduction is about my name is Kumar. I have around total years of 12 years of experience in SAP domain. I work for different technical aspects of the solutions of SAP, like for the middlewares. Even my journey with SAP Ariba started just after a few years into my career, right? Just after doing this middleware implementations. That's how I got introduced to SAP Ariba. And then that's how it started generally for the Ariba experience. And then we used to implement different integrations for the Ariba solutions with the different external applications as well. So with the Ariba CIG, I have more than 7 years of experience working with CIG. Even before if CIG is there, I've been helping SAP Ariba solutions integrating with SAP ERPs with different middlewares using different add-ons. So that's a big overview about myself. I see Srinivas or Prashant join. Hi, Prashant.
Yeah, hi.
Good morning. Can you give a
Yeah, good
little quick
morning.
short introduction about yourself, how
Hi,
much
Kumar.
experience you have on Ariba, if you have any?
Yes, so I'm already working as Ariba CAG consultant. So I started my career as SAP and
Mm-hmm.
I've did couple, you know, public and private cloud implementation project for Ariba CAG alone. So I want to learn in depth of CAG, like routings, mappings. So those kind of things I wanted to learn. So yeah,
Okay, good to know that. Thanks for that. So I'll
thank you.
quickly share my screen to show you the document which I have prepared for today's demo session. So before that, can you confirm me the voice or the screen also after I started is very much clear for you so that you don't feel any issues? My voice and the screen is visible to you guys, everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, okay, thanks for that. So yes, so I just wanted to keep an expectation right for this demo session that we're gonna cover as we plan the demo session for the Adibas. I mean, this is mainly for the CIG trainings, right? So I mean, as a starter, we expect the people having a little bit exposure to SAP Ariba, but it doesn't matter. Also, even if you guys don't have it, but because we're gonna cover in depth about exactly what is this CIG about, how this is useful with respect to SAP Ariba solution, when this should play a key role in terms of connecting the SAP Ariba solutions with ERPs, how about we should go for the external systems if this solutions are in scope, right? Some organizations also wanted to connect these SAP Ariba solutions with the external system also. Then how should we go about? And this session doesn't cover out, even this training doesn't cover about any of the Ariba solution integrations with non-SAP ERPs. Also, the topic about SAP open APIs. So we don't also talk about what is this APIs, how we're going to implement it. So because this is not part of this CIG training, CIG especially covers about the integration aspects of SAP Ariba solutions with respect to SAP ERPs. So we're going to check the architecture, how does that looks. So they just wanted to keep the expectations for all the people that later I have seen people coming back and asking like, I wanted to know how this Ariba Open APIs works. I wanted to learn that, but these are not part of these integrations or the Ariba CIG, right? So I just wanted to keep the expectations of all the people so that we are aware before it. So to start with, so the topics which we're going to cover in this today's demo session will be a quick look of all these aspects which gonna use. We also wanted to cover what is SAP Ariba itself, right? There are some people who doesn't have any background on this. So I just wanted to give a short description about what exactly this Ariba and what this CIG is, right? And then what is different add-ons which we're going to use for this integration aspect and also the different components which we're going to use as part of this integration, the CIG Cloud Connector and the requirement how to enable the CIG, how do we do that at different solution places in different portal, how the CIG portal looks. So with respect to configurations, how, I mean, what configurations we have to do if we have SAP ERP, right, with respect to the CIG integrations. So there are different solutions in SAP Ariba. So for all those solutions, how we gonna integrate with the SAP ERP using CIG, we're gonna check all the solutions upstream, downstream, the network related, commerce automation related stuff. So we're going to cover only the purchase order collaboration. We don't go into the depth of subcontracting or any of the SEC related solutions, right? So also the main points as you asked, we're going to cover in the training sessions. Also in the demo session, we're going to give you what is the CIG custom mappings and the custom routings, when we should do this, and also how do we do the monitoring and the transactions tracker of the CIG, how does that looks, right? So this going to be gives you all the details about if you're going to cover all these points, then you are good to have a good knowledge and some hands-on experience for the CIG user to go to start as an CIG consultant, right? Okay, I see a few more people joined. Hi guys, welcome to today's session. So since we are already into the today's agenda, right? So this is the quick overview of the topics we're gonna discuss with the new guys later. But in order to keep the time in mind, we're just gonna forward. So to the people who doesn't have any exposure on the SAP Ariba, I just wanted to give what exactly is SAP Ariba, right? So it's a cloud-based procurement solution. So if any of the SAP customers or the project owners or the organizations, they wanted to utilize the procurement solution or the sourcing and procurement line of business in their organizations, right? So if they do have SAP ERP solutions in their organization and they wanted to do this procurement with the different back in the suppliers, so where these organizations act as a buyer. So SAP Ariba is a cloud-based procurement solution which they can SAP recommends to use it. Apart from SAP Ariba, we do have other procurement solutions from the different organizations, but from SAP, we do have a solution which we call it as SAP Ariba, mainly used for buying and selling of the products between the buyers and sellers, right? Which they can connect it to SAP ERPs in order to have a total integrated environment. So that's where this ERP integration come into picture. So initially, this SAP Ariba started as an on-premise software, right? You already know about on-premise and the on-demand related deployments, I hope, right? If not, the on-premise is the server installation which will be there on the clients or on the customers physical servers which they can access it, but the cloud base is handled by the SAP itself. In order the databases, the application servers, everything will be handled by SAP. We just pay for that services. We buy how much of applications we wanted to utilize. We'll give the expectations to them so that they'll give the requirement, I mean, about the memories, the application servers, all this will be taken care by SAP. So that's how, I mean, mainly in order to differentiate between the on-premise and the cloud, right? You don't host anything on your servers. Similarly, SAP Ariba is a cloud solution. You will just get the licensing of it, right? You'll buy the licensing of it, SAP Ariba solutions. You will mention what and all solutions you wanted to utilize as part of your implementation or your part of procurement. So you'll buy or you enable those specific solutions. Again, in SAP Ariba, we do have different solutions, right? We call it generally upstream, downstream, and the networking solutions. So the upstream generally contains all the pre-procurement related activities which we're gonna do. We're gonna onboard suppliers, register them, and then do the servicing of this sourcing and the procurement mainly. We'll sign a contract with the different suppliers in order to procure this. So when it comes to downstream, we'll do the actual operational procurement, which means the transactions which we're gonna do with the buying and selling, doing the invoicing, doing the payment. All these we're gonna do for the indirect procurement. Again, for the direct procurement, you're gonna directly use the SAP ERP to integrate with the corresponding sellers in order to procure these raw materials in a bulk quantity. So that's what we call it as a direct procurement, right? So how does SAP integration suits with the SAP Ariba? Why, if you have an SAP Ariba solutions, why you have to integrate it mainly? So that's the main question or the first question you have to think about. What is this integration, right? Why we have to do it integration? Can't we have a standalone SAP Ariba? You can still do that, right? The standalone SAP Ariba, but in some organizations and right generally all the master data of their corresponding companies, they hold it in the main system which is SAP ERP, right? As a default with the SAP Ariba solutions, once you get the licensing, so what do you have? Do you get all the master data available in that? You do have a specific master data available in SAP Ariba like unit of measures, regions. This belongs to as a whole as a standard, some standard conventions related to the US, they'll provide that data. but that data won't be suited to your corresponding ERP, right? So your organization belongs to some Europe region, geography. So those unit of measures, whatever they have provided, might not work. So companies' ERP data will resides in their SAP ERPs, right? Majority. So when do they have SAP ERP solutions in their organizations, and they also purchased SAP Ariba solutions, right? So that's where these integrations come into picture. So we do this integration with the SAP Ariba and ERP in order to have the synchronization of these documents transfer between these two systems. We load the master data, whatever is present in ERP, into your Ariba solutions. So this enables in order to do all these strategic and the operational procurement process in this SAP Ariba solutions. That's how these two are interlinked, SAP ERP and Ariba solutions, so that we integrate these two systems in order to exchange these documents so that we have a total transparency and all the documents are available everywhere, so that sometimes the buyers in the SAP ERPs, they don't wanted to access Ariba solutions, right? They can also still log in it if they get the access, but if they wanted to dedicatedly check the persons, for example, right, they can still get the access, but the organization policies is defined in such a way that they won't get access to Ariba. Then all the documents which they have created in SAP Ariba solutions, they can also integrate with the ERP and then transfer that details. If any purchase order created in SAP Ariba, so that will be transferred to ERP, right? So that we'll have a copy of that purchase order so that the guys or the functionals, they can also log in into their corresponding ERPs to check that. So it provides different types of integrations between ERP. You can integrate SAP Ariba with different integration methods. When I say ERPs, it includes ECCs, S4HANA on-premises. Now, latest, we do have integration of Ariba solutions with S4 Cloud. When I say cloud, it's for both private and also the public versions of the S4 HANA cloud systems. So all these, integrations are possible with SAP Ariba solutions. So when I say these integrations, right, so it can have both bidirectional way of integration, meaning you send the data to the target system, it sends back a confirmation number so that you exchange both these documents, right? So not just with SAP ERPs, for any of the ERPs, you can find a different integration method, but our topic confines to CIG. So we're gonna see what this CIG means when this comes into picture, right? So before I move to that, so anyone has any questions about, again, what is this, when should I use this SAP Ariba, why integration, or any kind of, if you have basic general question also, you can ask me.
No, I'm good. So basically, with the cloud, CIG comes into picture even with the public cloud, right? If you wanted to uh, integrate public cloud solution of S4 HANA to the Ariba, right? Everywhere, CIG is
Yeah.
comes into picture now, right?
Yes.
And CIG is now on to the, like, not a standalone, now is on to the BTP platform, right?
That's I gonna cover in the next slide. So this I just talked about for the guys who doesn't have an experience, but for sure, yeah, I'll explain in a bit about that. What exactly is CIG? Where does it developed or something? I'm gonna talk in the next slide, but yeah, just bear with me. So this is
No
just
problem.
about the overview of what exactly this integration is, what is SAP Ariba, because there are few guys in this demo session who doesn't know about Ariba also.
Um, I have question. Actually, what is the difference between SAP Ariba and MM?
See,
In both are, I think, invoicing and purchase order, all these things similarity. But which one is
correct.
better?
Yes, before going into that debate, right? So even before SAP Ariba comes, so how do we manage the procurement operations with SAP solutions? What solution we are using it even before when Ariba is not there? So we are using an SRM solution of SAP module, right? which we're gonna do this supplier relationship management in order to do all these procurement activities. So before that, I mean, even before Ariba came, we are using these specific modules in order to interact with the suppliers, do this kind of documents. But when Ariba comes, what is the main motto? Even though it is initially developed on the on-premise in order to connect with these ERPs, so that's how it's migrated to its journey into the cloud-based procurement solution where, as I mentioned, it can be standalone and it doesn't also depends on SAP ERP in order to integrate with that system to do this transaction. So which one is better? So if you have an SAP ERP solution, so before that you have ERP, I mean the SRM solutions where you have to do a lot of manual tasks for that in terms of creation. So with this Ariba solutions, it's give a pretty clean UI, right? The cloud-based UI where all the integrations or even the navigations are so easy so that even an end user who is new to the SAP solutions, they can easily access these screens. But when it comes to the SRM or the screens, do you think an end user can easily navigate? Does he knows where to go? Which button means what? No, right? I mean, it's kind of until unless you are experienced, if you go into SAP ERP systems also, it's the UI is bit, I mean, I wouldn't say complex, but it's not that user friendly, right? So that's how this SAP Ariba solutions also helps the end users. Once if they get, I mean, easily learned about this, where to go, what solution is what, this gives end users, the procurement users, to easily navigate between the screen solutions, create their documents. The creation of the documents like the purchase order, requisitions is so easy in SAP Ariba solutions, so that it gives end user as a feeling of that to create these documents very easily and then integrate. Once integrated with their backends, the documents will flow to and fro. They'll get the purchase order back and then it will be sent to suppliers. All the screen navigations, the configurations, everything, the workflows is can be done easily if you use this SAP Ariba solution. The redundancy with the SAP SRM solutions. So that's why there is also a news that SAP is sunsetting this SAP SRM solution. Do you know that? Are we still
Can I
using
it is
SRM?
say can I it is say functional or developing or support SAP
Uh,
Ariba?
it's for everything. See, this solution is not just meant to only for functional users, right? You can develop functionally this solution. You will get a clean integration, I mean, clean SAP Ariba cloud solution with a predefined some set of master data, right? For example, as I mentioned, unit of measures or some kind of region codes, which we're going to use for the departments of that SLPs. So we'll get a specific set of data. And then once we get that system, we have to configure it functionally and also to integrate this solution with the SAP ERPs. That's where we use the technical knowledge or the technical experts in terms of integrating this system with the backend system. So it's a combination of everything. So functionally, we have to configure something in order to create these documents itself, all these transactional documents, and then we integrate with the SAP ERP. Why to integrate it? As I already mentioned, right? So that's the important, that's where the technical users come into picture. But if you know this both the functional aspects and the technical aspects, you can become an SME for SAP Ariba. So that's how it works. It's not just only the functional guys should access it or only the technical. It's a combination of both with the administration activities. So that's how you achieve all these processes. The business procurement or procure to pay and to entire cycle can be achieved with the combination of all these skills in order to develop this system also. That, I mean, that's how I can say.
One more thing is when you using SAP, we can also using all kind of T codes as per your use. But here also using the T code or other platform you can execute.
Yes, that's how I also mentioned, right? So you don't use any T codes or something in SAP Ariba. It's a cloud-based procurement solution, just like how you navigate the Fiori screens. If you are aware of SAP Fiori, right, in the backend, how do you navigate there? You just search there a specific like manage purchase orders. That's how you open a purchase orders in SAP Fiori screens. In the similar way, everything is a click, drag, drop. I mean, in terms of drag drop, I mean, you click a buttons there, you navigate to different sections. It's a graphical user interface with menu, links, and guided workflows for the navigations in the procurement, sourcing, and supplier management modules, right? The key difference, which difference is the T codes are command line based, which are present in the current SAP ERPs, while the Ariba provides more user friendly which integrated with the, I mean, the SAP ERP for the procurement process. So we don't have any T codes or something there in the SAP Ariba. It's a navigation or for the, I mean, that's what the UI looks like without any commands or the graphical user interface where we can access different aspects of this Ariba solutions.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, just to keep the importance of time, right? We're already half an hour cover. We can take more questions, but I just wanted to move forward because we're stuck at the initial integration or overview, right? I just wanted to explain you different topics. So yeah, just bear with me. So the integration overview. So why we have to consider about the SAP Ariba solutions, as you see right here in the picture on the left side, we do have SAP ERPs. If in your organization or in your customer landscape, if you have an SAP ERP and say they also got the license to the SAP Ariba solutions, right? So that's where you're gonna integrate those SAP ERPs, whether it is on for, I mean S4 on-premise clouds or even the ECCs, they're gonna integrate this with Ariba solutions. Here in the middle, you see Ariba solutions with SAP Ariba solutions, right? Using the SAP Ariba Cloud Integration Gateway. There can be many solutions where in the organization they do have, but to integrate mainly we are concerned or we confine our integration aspect only with the SAP ERPs. So when this comes into picture, so the client has an open question. I have an SAP ERP, I have a Ariba solution. So how do I decide my integration method? So based on what I should select my integration methods, right? So generally, I mean, to minimize the overall integration implementation cost is the first factor what he'll also consider maybe, right? In order to implement what is the best method he'll see. In order to, I mean, safeguard is customers investment of whatever he invested in this current ERPs. So he has to consider that factor, how much he has invested, what method is useful for that, and also whatever integration method they will choose, it should be seamlessly integrating these systems with that Ariba solutions, right? Making the procurement so easy that you don't have to sit, I mean, hours and hours in order to integrate this. We should have a very basic, I mean, user friendly. As SAP Ariba, as I mentioned, it's user friendly. He can navigate easily between the screens without any T codes. For integration method also, is there any something like which we can use to seamlessly integrate these systems with that, right? By considering today's investment, whatever the buyer has invested in these systems, okay, later we should not go and ask him about, okay, to integrate this we use this, you bring in some extra middleware saying you have to pay more dollars in this middleware to connect this, should it not be like that? So whatever integration solution you have to propose as a technical expert, right, since this is the technical aspect of the integration comes under, so you have to keep all this in mind. What is the landscape of customers ERP? Which is the best method I should recommend them considering all these factors? How this current ERP has, how much investment he has done on what components, whether he has the supporting components. You have to go through all this so that we will propose. Sorry, someone has any question? Okay. So considering all these factors, SAP Ariba itself developed an integration method which we call it as Ariba Cloud Integration Gateway, right? So this is the best recommended approach by SAP itself when you have SAP ERP and SAP Ariba solutions in your implementations. So that's how first you can suggest the SAP Ariba CIG. Why we are gonna use the CIG, we're gonna check in the next slides or the next content. But this CIG is the SAP recommended approach of integrating when you have SAP ERP with the Ariba solutions, right? So that is the main organization recommended method. So now what is the CIG? So sometimes we call this Ariba CIG as you see here, SAP has branded this CIG latestly. I mean, not latest, but it's been done last year itself that they have changed the name of CIG to something like this: SAP Integration Suite Managed Gateway for Spend Management and Business Network. I know this is, I mean, bit long, but still we're gonna call this solution or the product or the component as CIG itself for the name's sake without calling this. But sometimes you will see the name as this one, Integration Suite Managed Gateway. They'll simply call it as Managed Gateway. But SAP has rebranded this name recently, right? So that's I mean, I wanted to let you know so that later if you see something else and why we are calling the CIG as this one, right? So this, you just keep it in mind that the name has been rebranded. So where this CIG has been developed, on what it is developed. So CIG is developed on integration suite capability of SAP BTP, right? You might have heard SAP BTP, which we consider it as, I mean, the business technology platform. Inside that, there are multiple capabilities. Integration suite is one of its capability. On top of that, this CIG is built by SAP with a predefined mapping documents in order to convert the document from one format to another. So which provides, I mean, as I mentioned, it's developed on the integration suite that we call it as CPI. CPI is nothing but cloud platform integration. Now again, this is rebranded as integration suite. The CPI is nothing but the integration suite. The CIG is developed on this. So with that, it provides a simple and efficient IaaS solution. So we call CIG as integration as a service solution. Even though CPI is IPS, integration platform, right? CIG is developed on top of CPI, which we can call it as integration solution, integration as a service based solution. So what does it will do? It seamlessly integrates buyer's ERP with the supplier system via network. Even the buyer's Ariba solutions, which is connected with the ERP solution seamlessly in order to transfer this document between to and fro, and then the documents sent to suppliers. The ultimate goal is the procurement should happen between buyers and suppliers, as you see on the left, buyer on the supplier, right? We're gonna connect buyer's ERP with buyer's Ariba solution, and then after the document is created either here or on the Ariba itself, the ultimate goal is we should transfer the document to suppliers, right, in order to complete the procurement process. So buyers will be connected to Ariba solutions with Ariba network, right? The documents created in buyer, for example, anything of the direct procurement, you create it in your ERP, it will be sent to the network via CIG. Also, if you create it in your Ariba procurement solutions or upstream solutions, it will be sent to the network via CIG again. You see, the network will receive the data and network will transfer the data to the suppliers. If you know this network already, what is this network, right? The exchange of the interaction between the buyers and sellers happens via Ariba Business Network. So this business network holds a lot of, I mean, thousands of suppliers who registered in the Ariba network in order to connect with the different buyers who are using these Ariba solutions, right? That's how you interact or you transfer any document between buyers and sellers using this network, even though the integration happens with the network with ERP or Ariba solutions of buyer with the CIG, the transfer of document, I mean the document will go to supplier ultimately with the network via network. So business networks transfers the document to suppliers. So currently we are talking about the CIG on the buyer side itself. But if SAP or the suppliers has an ERP also, right? It's not just that buyers only will have an ERP. Suppliers also will have the ERP on their side, right? If it is an SAP ERP, they'll receive the documents. For example, let's say purchase order is received to supplier. They wanted to again transfer this purchase order to their ERP also. So in that case also you're gonna use CIG, right, to integrate supplier network with their ERP in order to transfer all these network documents. So that's where also on the supplier side also you're gonna use CIG. So remember that not just on the buyer, but our main topic will be integrating buyer's ERP with this Ariba solutions. But on also on the supplier side, this is just for your knowledge, on supplier side also you're gonna use CIG to integrate with their ERPs. So how does the document flows from supplier to this? Supplier can be of any type, right? The supplier system can follow different standard. But on Ariba, we generally transact between buyer network in the CXML format only, which is Commerce Extensible Markup Language. It's same like XML format with different tags. But this procurement process we are talking about is more about a commercial process, right? That's why we're going to use a standard CXML. With that format, the buyer network will transfer the documents to supplier. But in case supplier says, okay, my side I don't want CXML, I want something like XI12 format and CXI12, right? So that conversion also we can handle it at the network level. So before transferring the document to the supplier itself, we're gonna define that document itself. The supplier in his portal defines how he wants to receive the document into his system. So based on that, the business network is intelligent enough to convert that document to these different formats. So again, I just wanted to confine to the CIG because this is just for your information. How does the entire buyer and supplier landscape connects with CIG, connects with business network. Here you can see different options again on the buyer. If I wanted to connect buyer ERPs with the CIG itself, you see we have a cloud connector, we have a CPI, we have PO, SAP PO. Same like CPI, it's a older version. So when do we use which component? We're going to see in the next screen, but these are the different options when we connect ERP with the CIG. So these buttons here you see is the different options what you get once you log in into CIG. So CIG is not a different components. You can access CIG from Ariba Solutions itself, right? Once you have access to Ariba Solutions, you navigate to a separate section inside Ariba. So there you enable CIG. For example, if you wanted to integrate your Ariba solution of upstream, which include the supplier management and the source to contract solution, you wanted to integrate with your SAP ERP. So there you go to Ariba solution of that, enable CIG there. So there once you enable CIG, you will get a link to access that CIG, right? So there is no separate login portal for CIG. You always access CIG from Ariba Solutions itself. Once you enable CIG, there is a link gets established between the Ariba Solutions and the CIG portal. So you access CIG via a login URL inside the Ariba Solutions. You just click that. Once you have necessary roles in Ariba, you can access the CIG portal. So there you're gonna see different dashboard the options there. So which one will do what do we have inside CIG portal, we check in next sessions. But before we go to the next one, any basic questions on this integration?
Yes, so as per this illustration, are you saying PI is optional to use?
Yes. So previously there is an option even to integrate with SAP PO. But if you already know, SAP is also sunsetting, meaning they are decommissioning SAP PO middleware also. It's not yet
Okay,
done.
okay,
It's not yet
mm,
done, but it's in process. So
okay,
previously
understood.
the integration's gonna happen with this PO, SAP PIPO also using some CI9 related add-ons. So now SAP Ariba already gave this information or notification years back that they are already going to decommission this middleware. So all the people who are integrated using currently this, they are asking to migrate to CIG. You can still
Okay,
integrate this option with CIG, but what does SAP mean is get rid of any middleware in between ERP and Ariba, directly use the CIG itself, the direct integration method.
okay, thanks.
Okay, so I'll move forward. So what is this CIG? As we have seen here, it is an integration method to connect ERPs with Ariba solutions. So what do we have inside Ariba CIG, right? What does it offers? So it generally give a self-service kind of tools for us. You see there are different tools here. Once you open CIG, you can see different sections in the CIG portal, the integration portal, which you're gonna use for, I mean, overall look what the component it has. The integration wizard itself, you're gonna configure different projects inside for different solutions in order to establish this connection between Ariba solutions and ERP. You will also have a developer tools called the mapping tools, the custom routings in order to achieve the customizations using the CIG. And you also have a test central framework where you can paste your payload to test yourself if you have done any custom mapping you wanted to see. Even without triggering the actual document, you can test that interface flow, I mean the mapping process or the conversion process inside the CIG itself. So that's how the value proposition. So what does a CIG gives to the customer, right? Once we are saying SAP says CIG is the recommendation method. Why it is recommended better method? Because you don't need to install any component, right? Once you get the access to Ariba solutions, enabling CIG is free of cost. You don't need to enable anything. I mean, sorry, you don't need to get any extra license, or you have to install something on Ariba solutions, but you have to install something on the ERPs, the add-ons which we call, in order to support this integration. So that's how the simple enough to integrate your Ariba solutions, right? And extend that solution and to test your entire document flow. And also it's a self-service based. The navigation inside this portal is very easy, that you're gonna go step by step. When you create a CIG project, there will be a, I mean, step by step process. Once you create the project, you create the connections, all these are in a proper step by step guidance related, so that end users, once they start creating these documents or the projects, it is very easy for them to understand, okay, next I have to do this, next I have to do this in a proper sequence way. And also the deployment of these projects is very fast. If you know, I mean, there are in real time some projects completed the CIG deployments in 1 month, and they have gone live in the span of month. Considering all the approvals are done for this deployment, there are some organizations, they have gone live within the span of month. That's how the configurations are, how the deployments are done. That's easy it is in order to configure if you go with the CIG. How to configure and all, we'll see it. But the speed of deployment which I'm talking about is that's fast. If you have only one solution of Ariba which you want to integrate, you integrate it very easily, and also you will be ready for go live also for that solutions. So it also gives that, I mean, efficiency, accuracy with which you configure it, and also it shortens the deployment time also. So that's how it is, I mean, easy in order to, once you start configuring this the CIG.
Kumar,
right?
if you don't buy the Ariba solution, right, and then you wanted to do commerce automation, right, directly S4 can connect to the Ariba network, right? In that case, you need some kind of a GUI, right, to configure Ariba. That is a cloud GUI you get.
No, I mean, when you say about the commerce automation, right, it's mainly for between S4 and the Ariba network,
That's
right?
correct.
But you still need to get the license of Ariba network, Ariba business network, right? Without that, you cannot transfer the documents to suppliers.
But I cannot. I don't want it to buy Ariba. The Ariba sourcing or Ariba procurement and
Yes,
Ariba
yes,
contract solution. Doesn't
yes,
matter, right? Still, I have to buy the
correct,
Ariba network license, right?
correct, correct. So
And
you
through the
only
Ariba
get,
network, I will go to the CIG configuration cloud link that you were talking
yes,
about. Okay,
yes.
okay, no problem. Thank you.
So that's what I mean. Whatever solutions in your scope, you'll define that initially, discuss with SAP, only purchase or get that specific license. In all the Ariba solutions, you can enable CIG. Even though if you don't have those upstream and downstream, you can still enable it at the network level, enable CIG, integrate that with the CIG, and transfer your documents.
That
Yeah.
that would be cheaper, right? If you direct connect S4 to the Ariba network through the commerce automation.
I wouldn't say it's cheaper. It's because that solution is what you have in scope.
Okay.
Whatever you have in scope, I mean, SAP charges for that licensing, right? So
Okay.
that's how it is defined. I mean, whatever you wanted to use or implement, based on that, you'll get that specific licenses, and that's how it works.
Okay. Continue.
Okay, so this is again whatever I already discussed about why any organization should use CIG, right? It depends on many things. So SAP already says or decommissioning many old products like these PIPO. They are getting rid of this CI9 SP version 1, which we install on this SAP PIPO. They are decommissioning all the systems. So that's why SAP asking customers to move into so that they are future ready. All the future innovations will be deployed for Ariba only using CIG. They're not gonna use any middleware, right? And also, if you raise any ticket with SAP saying that I'm using PIPO, I have an issue, they won't support it anymore. So every customer should migrate it so that it will be future ready for their deployments. Any new innovations will be released only based on CIG based integrations. Also, the way how it integrates, the faster integration, right? Once you deploy it, all the necessary components, the integration is so fast. It has predefined integrations, standard mappings also. If you wanted to do any custom mapping between for any fields, so it is easily, I mean, done in CIG without the help of any extra middleware or etc. The and also the efficiency with the procurement results which you're going to see it as it is a single gateway which helps in integrating these two systems, right? All the Ariba solutions. So it obviously gonna cut the cost of for the organizations, in term increases the efficiency to get the proper procurement results for an end users. End user always wanted to see without investing much, they wanted to see efficient optimized results for their solutions, right? So how that is achieved, apart from solution buying, the integration method is also should be very tightly done so that you should not see any breakage, any connection breakages after you done the integration, right? You should give them proper integrated method so that later they should, I mean, we shouldn't go back saying sorry, I mean, this solution doesn't support that. This take a proper requirement, verify everything is supported via CIG, or all there are different solutions you see here, right? All these Ariba different solutions integrations with the ERP, with the SAP ERP is supported via CIG, right? So all these solutions are already can be delivered or integrated with the CIG itself. You see there are different network buying multi ERPs, sourcing, collaborative commerce automation, discount management, SLP, risk also, the contracts, catalogs, the catalog syndications, everything. With SAP ERP, all these solutions currently CIG is capable of integrating it so that it supports all the end-to-end buyers procurement process. Okay. So once you have decided it, what is the basic requirements of any of this ERP? So I do have ERP. So SAP suggests CIG is the method to go. So anything else I should consider about in terms of my version, right? So there are some specific prerequisites which they have to verify even before going with CIG. So for the ERPs, they have to check their corresponding ERP is 6.0 enough, and it having an EHP levels also you have to verify. It supports from EHP 0 starting from the SAP ERP 6.0. Also for S4 S4 HANA on-premise editions, it starts the supporting from 1909 till 2023, and even the recent versions of on-premises, and also to the cloud we don't see versions. So that's why I didn't mention here. It supports for both ERPs, S4 HANAs, public clouds. The integration will change a little bit when it comes to the S4 public clouds, right? But the rest remains, the configuration remains same for CIG. And also if you are use any middleware in order to connect along with Ariba, CIG and middleware, you can also use that, right? As I am shown here, you can connect CIG with extra middleware also. Why we have to do it? Why can't we do directly connect Ariba solutions with ERP using CIG? When there are some specific requirements where you cannot achieve in CIG, that's where we bring in SAP's middleware to connect that. This is only in the exceptional cases. I'm not saying every time, but there is a custom requirement from the organization or from the client side where we are not able to achieve that. Then you can always bring in extra middleware, connect it with CIG to do this integration. So for that middleware, the PIPO, even though it is sunsetting, the recent suggested version is should be minimum 7.1, 7.5. The decommissioning is with respect to CI9 add-on version installations, but until unless CPI is available, it's suggested to use CPI only as a middleware and also as part of TLS connectivity, right? In order to establish, all these are technical connections. You see here, all these are technical connections which happens via internet, right? This is a public cloud. Ariba is a public cloud. This is on-premise. The connection gonna happen via online, the open internet. So in order to safeguard these connections, so Ariba suggests your transport layer security, which is the SSL versions of the connectivity of internet, it should be minimum 1.2 or greater than 1.2, or it's suggested that the TLS version on your ERP side, it should support TLS 1.3. So this is the recent recommendation by SAP Ariba. You have to make sure all these are supported from your end even before you start your implementations, right? That's how you will work. Not just that I have Ariba, I have an ERP, I'll use CIG. So you also have to make sure whether my ERP is capable enough to connect via CIG. So all these, when is your ERP is ECC, at that stage you should be more bothered. But apart from others like S4 and obviously any of the recent purchases will have a latest version. But also these stuff, the TLS, everything should be taken care, whether it is supported or not. So the security team or the network team will help you checking this, right? So that you should verify this and also ask them to enable this version support so that Ariba solutions will connect easily with these systems. So before we move to architecture, right? Any other common questions you have? Okay, I'll take this as no. So this is
I have a
important.
question, Kumar.
Yeah.
Hello.
Go on, go on, go on.
So for that, you said a custom, as XSLT. Is that the custom mapping? Is it the custom mapping which is referred in CAG or?
Where is that XSLT? This one?
Yes.
Yes. So these XSLT mappings will be delivered by SAP, right? You as a part of as an integration consultant, once you access CIG, there are different ways to do this custom mappings. What is custom mappings? To transform the document from Ariba format to ERP format, we're going to use custom mappings. SAP already provided a standard mappings for all the fields. On top of that, if you wanted to use any custom field mapping based on your customer's requirement, then you use custom mapping screen in CIG. In custom mapping also, there are different ways. So there is a section for these custom mappings. You see here, there are three ways which we're gonna do this custom mappings, right? First one is the standard mappings. Standard mapping is nothing but the out of the box, whatever SAP has provided, that is the standard mappings. What is XSLT? XSLT is nothing but you can also request SAP Ariba via ticket, via raising a ticket in SAP portal saying that I have a requirement which I am not able to achieve using the custom mapping tool. There is also a tool called mapping tool inside CIG. So there you can manually do the mapping with predefined functions. You see there are different functions here which we have given here. With these functions you can do your custom mapping on yourself, right? But there are limited functions. It's not exhaust like CPI. In CPI you can write your groovy script, right, in order to define your UDFs, user defined functions, right? You can build your own logic. But in CIG, it is confined only to a specific list of mapping functions. If you are not able to achieve your requirement using these functions, then you can always reach out to SAP Ariba by raising a ticket, right? Saying that I want so and so mapping between this field and the target field of Ariba and ERP. So this is my logic. So you have to fill an Excel file before, to submit in this ticket. While raising the ticket, you also have to attach an Excel file. There you will define what is my source field, what is the X path of that field, what is the target field, what is the path of the target field, everything you will define. And also you have to write the logic so that SAP will understand, okay, my logic is based on so and so source field. I want to map this multiple places on the target side, right? When it is obviously a complex mapping which you are not able to achieve using this, that's how you reach. So SAP, after getting the requirement, they'll understand that if it is not clear, they will contact you, you'll get into calls with them, you'll understand how it works, and they will create the mapping on the back end on the SAP Ariba database, CIG database, and they will deploy that mapping in your CIG portal. So that deployment is based on XSLT. So only SAP customers or the SAP representatives will do that XSLT mapping and they'll deploy that. So after the deploying, we'll select whether we wanted to enable it or we don't want to enable it. It's up to you, right? So that's how whatever the XSLT here we mentioned is the same for additional data mappings. So that's what I mean here.
And this can be done for the SLP also, correct? So because for SLP, we don't do custom mapping.
No, for SLP, it's a pass-through via CIG. You cannot do any data transformations in CIG. If you have custom things to do, either you handle it at your ERP end using the extensions or the BAPIs. The inbound services will have a corresponding baddies. You should make use of that in order to customize your field or bring in your own middleware. That's where this comes into picture. If you don't want to do that extension at the S4 level or the ERP side for the SLP, right? You connect CIG then with the CPI. In CPI, you do that custom mappings. So that is one use case of how or why you connect CIG with extra middleware. You do that corresponding data transformation in CPI and then post the data of business partner.
Okay, so in that case, custom XSLT we cannot be used in SLP.
No, we don't have any It's a pass-through interface. SLP is a pass-through via CIG. So you cannot request in that case the XSLT also.
Sure, thank you. Yeah.
So we are already past 10. I'll just finish off this with the architecture, which is very important aspect, right? So you see on the right side the Ariba solution. This consider both upstream and downstream. And below you have Ariba network, right? Once you enable CIG, so this middle part is the CIG portal. Once you click enable the CIG in this Ariba screen, it establishes an internal link called HTTPS. The connection gets established between Ariba solution and CIG portal. You don't have to configure anything manual here. Just click enable. So a link will gets established between the Ariba solution. The same with the Ariba network also. If you have commerce automation SCC in scope, then you can enable CIG in the Ariba business network. So that also creates a connection to CIG portal. So middle you see a CIG portal. So CIG portal again can be accessible only from these cloud systems of Ariba. You don't log into CIG via any URL or ID password. It's not at all supported or it's not possible as well, right? So once in CIG portal a link gets established, you see different sections in the CIG. So you do have a configuration wizard, mapping tool, testing central, all these you're gonna handle. Since again it is built on CPI only, CIG is built on CPI, you have different screen. Now when it comes to integration with ERPs, right, you have different ERPs or scenarios. One is SAP ERPs on premise. All is whether it is ECC, S4 and on premise, all these in this box. The S4 clouds, public cloud, private cloud comes into this middle section, and the non-SAP ERP systems. So right, so CIG cannot directly connect with the non-SAP systems. You should make use of any CPI, cloud platform integration, and then connect to this non-SAP ERP systems, or even you use, if APIs are supported, in that case you make use of SAP Ariba open APIs to connect this CIG, not CIG, but directly Ariba with the non-SAP. So our requirement confines, our training confines only to this SAP ERPS for HANA on-premises. So how the inbound and outbound connection works. So imagine this is a cloud solutions. All these on the right side is the cloud systems. My customer ERP is a on-premise system. Cloud talking to on-premise, it's not secure because it's an on-premise system. It is confined in your own intranet, right? So exposing your system or opening your system to public is very risky, right? It's not possible. So we should have a mechanism or a component, secure component in between the cloud and the on-premise systems in order to securely connect and also transfer the data. So that's where this cloud connector component comes into picture. When cloud system is sending data to on-premise system, it is recommended or it should be used, the cloud connector should be used in order to connect the on-premise system with the cloud, right? So that's how when CIG sends the data, when CIG wants to send the data, whether it is of any document, purchase order, contracts, SLP request also, it should go via cloud connector to ERP, because cloud is selecting or sending the data to ERP. When it comes to the on-premise itself is sending data, it whitelists the cloud firewall, IP addresses of CIG in their firewall. So here in this case, ERP itself knows what is my target, to which system I am sending the data. So that's where you don't need to really use a cloud connector, and you cannot use that in case also. This cloud connector is only for the inbound process. The outbound ERP already knows what is my target system, the URL I know, right? There is no chance of breaking or vulgaring that connection. So in order to have extra security for this connection, what we will do, we will whitelist the CIG IP addresses in the firewall of ERP, so that it will only allows the data traffic since it is whitelisted, since it is safe enough. So that's how the connection will be sent to CIG, and also the certificates also you can install. The CIG certificates of this is the server certificate, right? Sender is ERP, this is server. So the CIG certificate, we store it in ERP. All the inbound traffic or the outbound traffic will be encrypted with that CIG certificate, so that again it's more secure that since we are not using the cloud connector, we can connect it safely or securely to CIG. So the protocols are going to be SOAP or HTTPS. You can also transfer the IDOCs, web services, the connectivity established via the IDOCs or the web services. Here in this can be again the both. The CXML will be converted to the IDOC or the SOAP or the proxy structure of different IDOCs. The cloud connector for sure is required when CIG is sending data to here. So what we will do in cloud connector? So we'll check that next. So the cloud editions, again, it's all together different, cloud and cloud. Here S4HANA is a cloud, CIG is a cloud. So then you don't really use a cloud connector in this case. Okay. You can still use a middleware in between if you really need. That's one possibility I'm saying, as you're not seeing here. The connection can be direct between S4 cloud systems and the CIG using this OData APIs. Version 4 and version 2 is also supported. The format is OData, and also there are some web services which are based on SOAP also. So generally there are no IDOCs, no files when it comes to cloud systems integration. It is always suggested to use this new latest technology, which is simplified open data protocols, which is OData protocols only will use, the formats only will use for the integration with the cloud systems. So any questions on this architecture?
How about for master data? So for even for master data integration for MDNA, do we need cloud connector from Ariba to S4 ERP?
Master data, so from where to where we load?
No, from the two ways, from ERP to Ariba, and from if in case we want to send, there is a thing called ECC. There is an option in Ariba like send external system, send master data to external system. Choose ECC or S4 from Ariba. I think we'll be sending the sourcing master data from Ariba to S4. Correct for
I
4BL.
don't think so. The master data always comes from ERPs, right?
Yeah.
The as customers ERPs is the sole database where any organizational master data relies or resides on. Our Ariba solutions are kind of imagine as an empty box. Once you purchase that, you will get only a specific standard data, as I mentioned, unit of measures, regions like that. So we have to load the master data from ERP to Ariba solutions. Okay. So it always from ERP to Ariba. So the one which you are talking about, ECC and S4, is at the upstream level. When you have to load the data from ERP to upstream, there is some mandatory configuration that you have to define that external system name there, right? In order to receive the data to upstream, there is a requirement or a prerequisite that you define the name of that system already in the here, because to receive the data, if the name matches, then only it loads. So that's why you have to create that configuration specifically. I mean, before even loading the data from ERP to upstream. So you will create an external connection in master data manager, right? In manage, you'll go to master data manager, create an external system. There you will select ECC or S4. Why you select ECC? Why you select? It's again a different use case. Generally, you select ECC, define that system ID, which should match with the ERP ID. Like for example, my ERP name is ABCCLNT200. The same name should be created in that section, so that when the data loads, the data load for upstream is different, the way how it loads, and downstream is different, right? So for that reason, the S4 system name should be already configured, and all the configurations for master data will come from ERP to Ariba via CIG. Using this line, we use our web services in order to send the master data. Even for upstream or downstream, we send the master data from ERP itself to CIG. CIG will pushes the data to Ariba solution. So that is the flow for master data. So whatever connections you see, this for all types of data, for master and also for transactional. So we are not saying only this is for some specific. This covers all the integrations of master data and transactional. So that's why
So
I
Ariba
mentioned
also
the.
sends master data to S4 in this case.
Sorry?
Some like regions, UMs, unit of measures. No. Okay.
Yeah. ERP is the source of the organization master data. You have by default some master data. So for example, unit of measures. Ariba unit of measure standards are different when compared to ERPs, right? Then you have to come into some kind of conversion, right? You need the conversion for what S4 sends. Generally, ERP sends the unit of measures in ISO codes. So that may not be same in may not be same in Ariba. So that's where you have to create a mapping file for downstream solutions in Ariba, that there should be a mapping file between ERP's unit of measure and Ariba's unit of measure. You can also do that conversion whenever Ariba is sending any document to ERP via CIG. You created a purchase order with unit of measure EA each, but in a S4 you don't have that each. There you have it as a piece, each and piece conversion is there. So you can handle that conversion in mapping also. You do have that flexibility, but as a standard, you can create a mapping file in the downstream processes to have a conversion between Ariba's unit of measure and ERP's unit of measure. So that's how you do it. Any questions?
And we'll get the CIG access, right? If we'll go ahead with the course.
Correct. Yes, you will get the system access for CIG. Yes, and also for the ERP also you will get. Why? Because the configurations will be done on both, predominantly on S4 or the backend systems. Most of the configurations are there on ERP.
Here you can use the when you build the integration. Okay, here using the any coding, above coding record.
This is very few cases in terms of customizations. Then only you need to have a dependency with the ABAPers, right? Let me give you an example. So you are sending a purchase order, or you are sending a supplier request from Ariba Solutions to the ERP, right? So someone already asked a question. So I want to enrich my supplier request before going to ERP. I want to add some custom data. I want to send the ACM ID of my supplier or AN ID of my supplier, so that in turn I will use those fields when I send the partition data back to Ariba downstream solutions. Okay, so that is one use case where I want to send some extra data which is not available in the standard payloads. You will configure that here. You will send it till S4, right? In S4, since that custom field is by default not get copied to your business partner general data level or the structure. So that's where we'll ask the ABAP person that, see, I have a custom field in my payload which is for this so and so structure of business partner. You have to clearly give them what is the interface structure, whether it is outbound or inbound. Okay, in this case mine is inbound. The inbound structure is so and so of that business partner. So I am sending a custom field in that payload. So I need an enhancement in order to copy this field to the structure of the proxy, the inbound proxy. So that's where you will ask the help of ABAPer in order to create a custom logic. There is already an BAPIs or baddies available for this. So they will make use of this to copy that. If that is not possible, imagine the outbound cases when ERP is sending the data to Ariba solutions. So again, in that case, we wanted to send some custom fields. My organization wants to send extra data to the suppliers, right? In that case, you do also have a custom fields either at the IDOC level or at the web service level. So based on your interface, you write a custom logic, a BAP logic, in order to get that custom field to your actual interface. So that's the only case where you reach out to the ABAPer to seek help on the custom fields implementation where it requires some kind of code, not in all the possible cases, but only some cases. So majority I have seen, right, when you wanted to totally change the functionality of that interface, right? For example, the master data interface is there in order to load the master data. So master data, there is a specific program which SAP has already given to us in order to, right, once we install the CIG add-on, you will get a program. You simply run that program, it will extract the master data. I mean, provided you have to do some configurations. After doing that configuration, once you run the program, it extracts the master data and it pushes the data to CIG. In that scenario, you wanted to add more master data object. For example, there is one file in Ariba called relation entries. I'm just giving an example. There is a relation entries file which you have to load, right? 1 minute, just give me a minute. I'll be back. I was mentioning about in that master data program, they are by default standard master data objects like company code, plant purchase, or all the master data what is required for Ariba, it will be there. But you have decided there are some relation entry files which is present in Ariba. I wanted to automate that process. Generally, it will be kind of manual loads, but my organization or my customer wants to automate those files where the source of that master data is present in ERP. From ERP, it should come. All these days, we are manually loading those files. So for that case, we'll take the help of ABAPer saying, okay, this is my program with which I will use to load the master data files. In this program, I want to create a new checkbox for these relation entries, right? So make use of this so and so baddie. There are some customer, implicit enhancements available in this program, right? So you give that name of that program, tell them that I wanted to create a so and so extra master data extraction functionality. So this is the tables where you can get that data. So make sure you have to provide all this data. You should get that requirement properly, and you should give the inputs, all the inputs to the ABAPer saying these are the tables where my data presents. This is the program. This is the implicit enhancement which you can use. So please create a logic, write an enhancement or ABAP code on top of the standard program, right? So that you will generate this new customization. So in these kind of example cases where you wanted to implement everything custom, which is not there as a standard, right? Not all customers wanted to use this. This is only for a few customers where they have this requirement. I'm not saying it should not be any requirement like that. There can be a lot of requirements from customers in order to implement this procurement cycle. In that cases, we'll reach out to ABAPers to take their help, write that specific code in order to create the required uh, logic, right? The required fields, whatever you wanted on where exactly. So that's how you will approach to ABAPers, taking their help, giving all the data to use the code or whatever is they'll suggest to implement your requirement. I hope this gives some idea, right?
So you mentioned the CIG add-on. Is it a requirement for ERP and S/4HANA?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I still couldn't move to this section, right? So there are a lot of details. If possible, I mean, you see there are many screens which I wanted to cover, but as I'm going in depth of what is this, so that you guys easily understand, this couldn't possible. We'll connect with Subbu to see if we can schedule one more demo session, but this covers, right? You already know the way of the explaining, how I'm explaining this process. By that, you'll get an idea how depth I'll explain. But yes, for your question, for sure, what is the dependency or what is the requirement if you proceed with CIG? What I have to do on S4 or ERPs? You have to install these add-ons for ERPs, for ECCs, for S4HANA. These are the add-ons you should install. What is this add-ons? Why I should install this? As we are saying, CIG is the best integration or the recommended approach. Why we are saying it is best? Because the deployments, the deployment times are faster, the configurations are very less, right? Imagine if you don't have a CIG add-on. Okay, you don't have CIG add-on on S4, you have to integrate the S4 system with the Ariba. So how do you do that? We do have a standard interfaces. For example, we do have a standard idocs, order idocs, whatever the web services, right? In order to trigger that idoc, when I create any purchase order, that idoc should be triggered. You obviously create a output control condition records for that, but this kind of the manual process is automated morely. The reason for the CIG add-on is the same example which I given. If you wanted to load the master data from ERP to Ariba, if you install this add-on, you will get a already a standard program. In that program, you select the checkboxes, which master data you wanted to load, execute it. That's how it simply helps us the buyers to transfer the data, right? You don't have to create a new program. SAP already given a master data program with which you configure all the requirement stuffs in SPRO level or all where else is required, configure that, execute that program. So with these add-ons, you will get lot of programs which are required for this entire procure to pay lifecycle execution, not just programs, the proxies, the idocs, the data structures, the tables also, TVRVC table related tables, CIG related tables, the programs. It will also gives the authorization objects also. So you create the roles for that authorization object, assign it to yourself in order to configure the CIG configurations. So that is the reason why we have to install the CIG add-on. Without CIG add-ons, everything you have to create on your own. The programs you have to create on your own, the logics where the data should be stored, where it should be fetched from, everything you have to define your own. Imagine there is nothing in that system, only the master data is present in the system. In order to develop the interface, everything you have to do it from scratch. With these add-ons, you have all the objects, interfaces, programs available, which will help to fasten this integration method. So that I would say, what is this add-on? And there are different add-ons here you see, right? UCI 100, CI 200, GR 100, CIG R 100. So all these depends on your type of system. Yours is ECC, then you should go with this CI1, CI2 or GR. Yours is S4 and IRP, then you should use 10S, CI1, CI2. Again, what is CI1 and CI2? Which one I should install? If you install both, it's not an issue, because CI1 will give you certain kind of components or programs to support. If you see, this is the primary add-on, CI1 is the primary add-on, which supports from EHP 0 onwards. If your system is this show version, right, below levels, then you should also install this, right? It has clearly given if you have service items apart from materials, if you want to also procure service goods or items, then you should also install the CI2 version. This is for the retail version. You see, this is for this module. If you have these retail solutions in scope, which you wanted to integrate with the Ariba upstream or the sourcing solutions, then only you should install this retail add-on version, or else this is not required to install. So go through all these details before asking the basis team to download these add-ons and install it on your ERPs, right? So that's how you decide which add-on I should install. Should I install everything? It's not really necessary. Why? Because if you unnecessarily install some add-on, let's take you installed this add-on. Later, the audit team comes. They'll ask you, what is this add-on for? Are you using this add-on? Why did you install? Right? That can be kind of risk. So it doesn't cause any harm if you install it also, but make sure you install only the necessary component what is required for the installation, right? Again, the below one is the CIG portal. There is community for CIG portal where you can go through all this stuff and read it yourself. You can post your question if you are facing any issues in the CIG implementation. There are n number of blogs available in the CIG. If you have any error, you can paste that error to see if there is any blocks for that error. So all this is an SAP CIG community itself available online using this URL. You can navigate, you can download the necessary configuration guides, installation guides, everything from this portal itself. So this is how you download the CIG. You can go to this URL, SAP me portal. So generally you'll take the help of basis people to download this add-on from the SAP service marketplace, right? So this is how the add-on look like. This is where you navigate between in the SAP portal to download. So yeah, this is about the cloud connector, how the cloud connector looks, what is this sub components or the sub accounts we should install. Yeah, there is lot, but before we close the today's session, any questions you have?
Yeah, thanks for the add-on explanation. I have one general question. So if we have two group companies with their own ERP systems and they connect to same Ariba instance, still the integration is double, is it? I mean, separate integration.
I didn't quite get the first part. Can you explain the grouping of companies?
The two different ERP systems, like their
Uh-huh.
own
Okay.
installations, so if they want to connect to same Ariba cloud, I mean, basically Ariba cloud is Ariba cloud, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
integration will be two different efforts. It's a two
Correct.
separate
Correct.
integration.
Since because these are
Okay.
two instances, right? Two separate ERP instances. There you have to again install the add-ons on both the systems. You create the configurations in both the systems and connect to same CIG. Same
Okay.
CIG portal and same Ariba you can connect. So that's what we call as a multi-ERP.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that is
Thanks.
possible. Yes.
Where can getting course content? You cover, I think, upstream, downstream, and CIG also.
Sorry, I mean, as part of training, you are asking what and all we'll cover?
Yes, 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 right.
Okay, yes, yes. We'll cover all the configurations for upstream, downstream, network, what configurations you will do in CIG portal, what configurations we have to do in S4 backend systems. We'll cover everything, not the functional part, only the technical aspects. When I say not the functional part, I won't show you how to create the templates, right? So that is not part of the CIG integration. That is
Yes, yes,
dependent
yes,
as
yes.
part of that, but we'll only cover the integration related configurations in all the systems and for all the solutions.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much.
So yeah, I mean, like apart from CAG, is it good to know the BTP also, BTP integration suite? Because nowadays the AI, right? Joule. So
Yes, I mean, for sure. I mean, but that is again the advanced level, I would say. If someone who doesn't know, I mean, this integration itself, first understand this, do this integration, then on top of that, where my BTP fits in this implementation, right? For example, you have completed all the integrations, then my customer wants to automate something, right? For example, let's take if anything fails in CIG, there is no alerting mechanism. So there you can create a use case, integrate CIG with BTP or Joule or whatever is possible, the AI methods or automation methods to extract that failed data and report it. Yes, for sure. I mean, you can incorporate BTP. It's also useful if you learn BTP. Why? Because if you just say I am a CIG consultant, that doesn't help, right? So there can be roles available in CIG for sure outside. Many companies is hiring SAP Ariba CIG experts. But if you already along with that CIG, if you are an integration consultant, you should be also knowing the CPI also. The BTP capability is CPI. So there are many cases where we have to use CPI along with CIG, right? Mainly for the custom integration solutions. Yes, it is very useful and advantage also if you use or if you learn CPI. Yes. So any more basic questions you have? Anything you can ask me. I mean, which you want to know.
Timing, what is the training time?
So we are planning to do it in the morning sessions only, but we'll take your feedback once you registered, right? You are decided to go with this training. We'll align with you to see what times works for you, right? If there are multiple persons, we generally, I mean, prefer in the morning only in order to not to conflict with your working hours, right? If you are a professional, so around 8 or even sometimes we'll take the classes at 7 also in the morning, but it all depends how it works for you also.
Okay.
Subbu for sure will take your, I mean, requirement if you are interested. We'll decide and we'll plan the sessions accordingly. So any more questions before we end the call?
That's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, then. Thank you so much, people. So thanks for joining this. Please get in contact with Subbu. He'll take all the requirements. We'll plan the sessions very effectively. Okay, don't worry about. You will understand in depth of this CIG stuff, which is very really helpful for your
Uh,
implementations, right?
Last question for my side. Actually, after complete in course in your side in training, how many years in putting my resume can survive in companies in getting the job?
You mean especially for CIG or for which
Uh,
module you're asking? I mean,
it's the very easy for upstream, okay, but they are all are question asking in downstream and CIG, okay.
hmm.
uh, uh, yes, that's in the CIG and the downstream.
Correct. I mean, see, it all depends on their company's requirement, right? I cannot comment that, but at least I would say minimum CIG, they won't ask you, you should have this much experience or that much experience. If you are well have an experience with the hands-on, if you are capable to do that, then it is fine. If someone asks, you can also mention I have 2 years of implementation experience or something. But when it comes to downstream, as you are mentioning, you should have a proper experience since it's more functional, right? You should have a proper experience like minimum 3 2 years or something like that. But it all depends on their requirement also. But you should minimum have a 2 years at least for the downstream if you have to work on that. I mean, again, it changes to case basis, but I'm just giving a basic example.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Yes, Shweta.
Yeah, present I'm new to Ariba. I need some suggestion like how I should plan my career in Ariba. Like now you are saying like CGI and CPI will come. So if I get job in Ariba for 2 years or 3 years experience, then how I can move on to further? Just you give some suggestion or advice.
Okay, so I would say since you are new, right? So go
Mm,
with CIG. This is very much useful. You can start as a consultant of technical consultant. You can brand yourself as a technical consultant because CIG comes under a technical skill, right? So
okay.
once you are get experienced on the CIG, you can also learn the functional stuff of Ariba. So right, it's the same stuff. I mean, they here you will do some configurations, there you will do some other configurations. So all these are interlinked. So I would suggest once you complete this, you can also get trained on functional also. So that's how you become a overall Ariba SME, right? Or either for the upstream or downstream. Start with
Mm.
one solution, either upstream or downstream, where which you feel is more interactive or makes
No, here Ariba includes upstream and downstream, right? Then CIG will comes
correct.
under it as a middleware thing. So just straightly coming into the CIG, or else first I should get experience in Ariba overall upstream and downstream, like some 2 years or 3 years experience. Then I can come into the CIG. How would you like suggest it?
Generally, that's how the profiles will be. So you should have a basic experience on this
Basic knowledge should
functional.
be will be.
Correct. So 1 2 years is also fine. Okay. But your
Mm,
majority is CHE, that also works. But you should have a basic understanding at least. Even though if you say I have
okay.
experience on functional, you should
Mm,
have a basic knowledge about what is upstream, what is downstream, how this works, how these two interlinks. Is there any interlink between these two solutions? So CIG is connecting these solutions with the SAP Ariba, right? So I would say yes, you should have a basic knowledge on these functional solutions. How does it works?
okay, and how is the job market for this? But only particular module will be having a job market, or else only Ariba, CH or CPA, this comes overall 10 to 15 years of life will be having in the job because AI is coming into the picture and how it may plays a key major part here
See, along
to
with the
sustain in our career. Mm,
existing roles, right? There is a demand
mm,
for each solution. Okay, I'll come
okay.
to the AI or whatever next. But
Mm,
if you open in LinkedIn or wherever, they'll ask the requirement based on their opinions. For example, someone wants a downstream expert. They'll only ask downstream. But in the requirement, they are also mention CIG experience also is a beneficial. So like that, they'll mention. There'll be openings for individual roles. Upstream, they want upstream consultant sometimes they want downstream consultant. The requirement will be there for all the modules. Okay. In some
okay.
cases, they ask everything. Why? Because it is an SME requirement. So, but for sure, there is a requirement for CAG also, specially, separately. If you see some companies I've seen, they're asking separately for CAG experience also. CAG experience. In that CIG, they'll also ask if you have any middleware experience. Why? Because it will comes into handy if you have a custom solution. So that's why people will ask you should have ready experience on this integration so that you will handle it, right? Imagine in the company's perspective that if they wanted to have a middleware integration along with CIG, they don't want to hire one more person, right? If you have that experience, it is very beneficial to them. So that's why since all these are technical skills, they'll expect that you also have an experience on the middleware.
Okay. So to pick up my resume and all to get the interview calls, uh, including Ariba, CAG also, you should have some knowledge on it, right?
Correct, correct. You can predominantly give that you are a technical expert,
Mm,
mentioning I've integrated these Ariba solutions with SAP Ariba ERPs with different CIG and other integration methods. So along with that, you can also highlight that I also have a functional experience. how does this works, right? The entire solution. So that's how you can project yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Kumar. Sir.
Yeah.
A small question from my end.
Yeah.
Hi, Ravi. May we know, are you techno-functional consultant or only technical consultant?
No, I'm predominantly technical, right? With this experience of 12 years, I also know how this functional works. So that's why I'm capable of answering some functional points also, but I also has functional experience also.
So in this training, do you show that functional related implementation also? Somewhat overview of that.
No. Why? Because this concept itself for technical configurations takes a lot of time. So we don't want to get into this functional because this is actually not a functional training, right? This is predominantly CIG training.
Technical.
We want to get
Yeah.
into the CIG training. So if we go into how to create templates and all, it doesn't implies what we're trying to do. So creating templates or the functional configurations, you can also get it from configuration guides if you really wanted to know. But we don't want to get into these functional configurations.
Okay. Actually, I'm a functional side, but how
Mhm.
it can help for this CAG training for me?
Yeah, then you can brand it yourself as your techno-functional consultant, right? You already know functional. So let's imagine you're a downstream consultant, which you
Yes.
are functional. So if you know CIG, you already know what to connect, right? I mean, what to configure for downstream in order to connect to ERP. You will know, I mean, once you get trained, you will understand what needs to be configured, what needs to be enabled. Since you already know the functional aspects, along with that, once you configure this, you are able to integrate now your downstream with the ERP system, right? You will do the necessary configurations in Ariba in terms of technicals. CIG portal, you will configure it anyway. In SAP ERP also, you will configure all the necessary configurations once you complete this training, right? So that's how you know already functional. Now you are capable of configuring the technical aspects also. So now you are techno-functional consultant for downstream.
Okay.
But this will apply the same for upstream also. Okay, once you do for one module of CIG, it will be kind of same for upstream, for even the network also. That's easy it is for the CIG configurations, so that you
Okay.
can know for other solutions also.
Okay, you'll cover both the upstream and downstream as a
Yes,
part of that
yes,
technical, right?
yes, yes,
CAG. Okay.
yes.
Thanks for the information.
Okay.
Yeah, all your 12 years experience into Ariba only, or any other
Few
module?
few initial 1 to 1.5, I'm into middleware. I mean the integration consultant, not just to CIG, but I know how the CPI works, right? Even before CPI comes, it's PIPO. So
Okay,
I'm a
so
middleware consultant also. Initial days, yeah.
yeah, initial. So also all into middleware only. So from Ariba, you when the CAG started, from there one you started work on CAG, right?
No. CIG hardly started some 6 years or some years back, right? So before that, what are we using? We are using different integration methods to connect Ariba with ERP. So I also know if you don't have CIG, how to connect it, right? So that's a
Mm,
different aspects. But without CIG also, I integrated solutions with ERP, yeah, using middlewares
okay.
or any other tools like ITK we have used previously. We used PIPO, different add-ons. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Got it. Thank you.
And one more question. Earlier we use PO, SAP PO and PI. Is it both the same, PI and PO, or nothing but?
Yes. PIPO is the same system, process integration or orchestration
Process.
we call it. Yeah, so it's the same system.
Okay. Now we are using this CIG with the help of that CPI. Is it need to connect that CPI to that CIG?
No, it's not really mandatory. The first way is to integrate directly CIG with the ERP. If you have any specific custom requirement which doesn't satisfies using CIG itself, the one which I mentioned, SLP. SLP is a pass-through via CIG. If you wanted to customize anything in terms of data transformation, you cannot do that in CIG. You should do it either at the S4 only using enhancements, or if you have a middleware already in your customer landscape, okay, you should not ask them to buy that new software or new license for software. If they already have it, then you can make use of that CIG plus CPI.
Oh, if the customer have both in their landscape.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
If they don't have, then what you will do? I mean, the customer don't have. Then as an integration consultant, you should be capable of suggesting what is the other alternative way. Handle it at the S4 level only.
Can we handle at the S4
Yes,
level without
yes, yes,
middleware?
correct. Yes, we can do that. So that's where the ABAPers come into picture.
Oh, at that moment, that Ababus, we need that Ababus helper.
Correct, correct.
Otherwise, we can do in the CIG part itself, all the
Mm-hmm.
things.
Yes.
Then,
Training videos and documents will be given, right? For
Correct.
the
Every day, recording session will be shared by the organizer. He will share that recording on the same day. Okay.
how many days the training will be, Ram? Oh, sorry.
We didn't define it properly. I have to check it how many days it take, but it will be hardly 20 days, I would believe. Less than that also. Okay.
Oh, every day 1 hour.
Yes. Yes.
Only 20 days. Okay.
No, I mean that's what I kept it as a target,
Okay.
right? You
Okay.
generally won't need that many days because all these are standard configurations only, right? So I just showcase you. But if it is really doesn't covering that all these topics, then we're gonna extend it. Mostly it will
Okay.
be 1 month, right? So sometimes
Okay.
we'll also connect it if we miss some sessions. If I'm not there on weekdays, we'll also connect for 1 hour on weekends also. So it all depends on how it is going.
Okay.
can we get hands-on practice also, or just this a Word document at the present PPT only in this
You
training?
can get the system access also.
Okay.
You will get the access so that you will configure on it your own
Oh, you also
for both
show
the
that on the hands-on practice. I mean, in that system as a practical, not
yeah,
via
that's what
PPT only.
the training covers, right?
Okay.
So imagine these training sessions. I mean, this is the demo system which we get it, right? So some configurations are already there. Why? Because the same system will be used by multiple training sessions. So some configurations we can recreate that, not an issue, but I'm just giving an heads up that these configurations will already be there. We'll try to create as many as possible freshly.
Yeah. Okay.
Will you cover the public cloud implementation integration also, Ravi?
No. See, public cloud overall goes to another section, right? The training session is only for the on-premises S4.
That means if we go to public cloud means we need a BTP and CPI.
No, 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 not like that. So it slightly changes. The connections, the integration slightly changes. You still gonna use CIG for that integrations for sure. It's not like the entire architecture won't change. You
Okay.
still connect the S4 on cloud. I've shown you the diagram, right? The architecture diagram. For S4 clouds, you still use CIG to connect. But the ways of connecting the protocols changes. We're gonna use OData protocols, OData adapters, all these when we connect to S4 cloud.
Oh. So we use for S4 HANA public cloud means only for Fiori apps, not for a GUI. On premise, we can use Fiori as well as the GUI, but in public cloud, we use only Fiori apps, right?
Correct. Correct. That's what the public cloud SAP wants to use it, right? Get rid of these T codes and give wherever is possible. So you have to understand the meaning of why S4 brought in public cloud. What to minimize, what can we get rid of. It all
Okay.
depends. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ravi.
Okay. Then please reach out to Subbu. He will guide you. I mean, how shall we proceed if you are interested, right? So apart from that, thank you so much, people, for joining on this weekend. I wish you happy, very nice day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kumar.
Thank you.
You.